Some AFL stars recently got a huge payday. It's the official sign, the times of the $2 million player are here, and clubs have no other option if they want to attract these type of players to their clubs. But with the big money comes big pressure to perform and the potential of plenty of scrutiny from fans and media. This comes after an AFL coach declared the rebuild is just about finished, while the AFL scrambles to try and equalise the draft. It's such an interesting period in the player movement space, which really has never become more important in an era where it's so hard to get out from the bottom of the ladder. The big deal was with Tom De Koning. It was the worst kept secret in the AFL, and at the time of this, he's not officially in St Kilda colours yet, but he will join them. The new contract is 8 years long, taking him to 34 years old, and is still in the range of that $1.7 million per season. It's the first big fish the Saints have been able to land for a while, and he joins Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera, who was the other huge signature the club got. Now rightfully so, there is skepticism around De Koning and that deal, but let's look at the upside. The first 2 months of this season saw De Koning lead the All-Australian ruck race, and he put up monster numbers. But he did fall away as the season went on, not helped by a throat injury, which John Ralph revealed on the midweek tackle limited his actual breathing on field, and it's why he was paired up with Mark Pitnet and sent forward at times. Now durability and season-long performance is a concern with De Koning, but his peak performance is phenomenal. The club is adamant they want Rowan Marshall to stay to create a 1-2 ruck pairing just like Fremantle have. De Koning has huge talent and upside in his game. The salary cap might be a future issue though. De Koning is on $1.7 million, Wanganeen-Milera is on $2 million, and it looks like GWS defender Lekeli will also join the club on $800,000 or so. Throw in the possibility of Liam Ryan and Sam Flanders from the Gold Coast Suns, and the Saints could be getting in a lot of players in this trade period. Now the Saints may have saved up and planned for this cap room for a while, but it is clearly risky to invest so much in just a handful of players. Perhaps they have no choice, which we will focus on later. In the West, it was announced Harley Reid will stay for another 2 years beyond 2026 at West Coast. Like Wanganeen-Milera, the 2-year add-on will be worth around $2 million per season if he can hit certain markers. It's obviously a big investment and based so far on talent alone, although reports out of the Eagles suggested Reid was heavily invested in the team in the back end of the season, and his on-field numbers and performance did spike compared to the first half of 2025. Every type of deal was offered to Reid in terms of length, and it's a great sign for West Coast that their main prodigy is staying for at least the medium term. Sure, the pressure will be on him to get going as he enters his 3rd and 4th year in the system, but the deal equally puts pressure on West Coast to support him and get better players in. From the outside, it feels like a pretty fair deal despite the hefty price tag. But this all goes back to something Alistair Clarkson said a couple weeks ago in a pre-game press conference. When asked about the compromised nature of the draft, he said, "It's been as challenging a time as ever in the game as to how you secure your players, whether it's to do with Northern Academies, the Next Gen Academies, the Indigenous Academies. I think to be fair, the total rebuild, any club won't go there ever again unless there can be some sort of mechanism where you can see opportunity to improve your list. All the clubs that are in the bottom 8 of the ladder, because they are in that boat of trying to get their list better, they are the sides that are scrambling, trying to work out how they can get some talent into their footy club." He has a point. Now North in their rebuild aren't entirely without fault. They have mucked up a handful of their top draft picks, but for example, it's unfair to compare them with Adelaide. The Crows were able to trade in Isaac Rankin and Jordan Dawson, both from South Australia, to boost their rebuild, and also got important defender Max Michelani as a father-son in the first round of the 2022 draft. Compare this with North, who had no access to Nick Dacos, Sam Darcy, Will Ashcroft, Levi Ashcroft, and the Northern Academy players right at the top end of their drafts. It's also in part why they got in Caleb Daniel, Jack Darling and Luke Parker. They were better than what they had and added to the squad's depth, but it is hard to attract that top end talent like the Crows did with Dawson and Rankin. A compromised draft system, as it is right now, and the difficulty for clubs like North Melbourne to attract big name players is why De Koning got an 8-year deal, weighing in Miller at $2 million per season, and why Reid got offers of $25 million from Victorian clubs. The teams basically have no choice but to do these mega deals because talent is hard to come by and even more difficult when you don't have access to all the best young players. You can criticise the clubs, North are even being questioned for their chase of St Kilda midfielder Marcus Windhager, but what else can they do? There really is no other alternative to improve up the ladder right now than chase the best players available on the market and give them the big money. Now, Caroline Wilson on the Agenda Setters reported that new General Manager of Football Greg Swan had told club officials changes will be made to the father-son and academy system in the draft. Footy bosses have been warned by the new AFL footy boss Greg Swan that there will be changes to father-son and academy rules next year. Sharpen up this year. Next year, most footy bosses, some happily, some very angrily, believe there'll be no father-son or academy picks for the whole first round of the draft, which is what St Kilda, Fremantle and other clubs have been pushing for. It is big news and only the starting point. Feels like the decisions around the father-son and academy bidding will be very heated because certain clubs have benefited more while others have been disadvantaged. Blocking out clubs from accessing players they have developed in their academies or with bloodlines in the first round would be monumental. It would even up the draft, no doubt, but it would be awkward if those clubs that haven't benefited previously all of a sudden have players coming through that they would not have access to. It might also decrease the interest clubs have in advancing their NGA and academy programs, and even lead to hiding players or limiting their under 18 game time so they don't go high in the draft. Clubs will always find loopholes. It is a critical factor the AFL is weighing up and goes back to what Clarkson said about the rebuild being near impossible to complete solely through the current draft system. It's also not just the clubs lower on the ladder going into the market to splash the cash. Hawthorn reportedly have money to spend and are eyeing up a star-on baller to help their engine room. The Western Bulldogs will be chasing a key defender or two to help their defence, and even Brisbane will bolster their team with Oscar Allen and perhaps Sam Draper. Everyone is after talent and wants to get better. Clarkson at that press conference best put it. We've said it all along, there are 17 clubs who would have the same answer. We are in the business of trying to get our list better. They are list management decisions we will get to post-season.